kill me.
I'm the Martial Arts Film Freak, and I watched John Wick, Chapter 4.
You think your wife can hear you?
No.
Then why bother?
Maybe I'm wrong.
You're going to die.
Maybe not.
John Wick Chapter 4 is a 2023 film directed by Chad Stahelski and starring Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Lawrence Fishburne, Bill Skarsgård, Clancy Brown, Donnie Yen, Hiroyuki Sanada, Marco Zaror, Scott Adkins, and some other people I need to name. Lance Reddick, of course, rest in peace to that great man. Shamir Anderson, Rina Sawayama, and I think I feel good about those ones. That's good. Natalia Tena, because I like her in Harry Potter. John Wick Chapter 4 follows up from John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. John Wick is training, I guess, sort of in the sewer after being picked up by the King, Lawrence Fishburne, and the rest of the other homeless people after the events of the third film, and is just sort of on a rampage to kill everyone in the sort of organization of assassins, the High Table, all of them. But then there's Bill Skarsgård, who of course is in his way and is trying to kill John Wick and trying to kill just the idea of John Wick because it could stage an uprising. Who knows? There's a lot. But, you know, it's the world of John Wick that we know and love. I tried to go into John Wick Chapter 4 with no expectation whatsoever. Obviously, I'm a martial arts nerd, and this movie stars Donnie Yen, Hiroyuki Sanada, Scott Adkins, and Marco Zaror. I can't help but be giddy, downright giddy at the thought of what that could what could occur in this film, but I put it away. Walking in, I thought, it's just a movie, it's just another movie, it's just a movie that could potentially be bad, so let's just chill, let's just calm down. But then the movie starts, and you're in the world of John Wick that I truly am a huge fan of. I know people complain that, like, oh, wait, this movies are so much better when it's just this simple story of revenge or whatever, and the world is too big, it's too fleshed out. No, are you kidding me? Flesh it out more. Give me more. Tell me more. Who are the characters? Where do they come from? What is their purpose? What is this High Table? Tell me all of it. I want to know more. I am in. And speaking of the characters, something that this movie does surprisingly well. I sort of just spoke so fast it was mushy. I enjoyed how sentimental this movie is. Of course, we have John Wick, who this whole journey started because, you know, his late wife gave him a dog and someone killed his dog, and then he goes for revenge, and then he's brought back into this world. He has that sentiment of just wanting to be free, wanting to live for his wife, so there's that. But then you have characters like Donnie Yen who are brought in, who they immediately give Donnie Yen's character so much to do, so much heart, so much acting that Donnie Yen gets to do. More than just fighting, more than, you know, like he did in Rogue One, I feel like. He actually gets to sincerely act. But that sentimentality goes into the backstory of new characters, it goes into the stories we know so far with the old ones, and a crazy thing this movie manages to do is so many new characters are important. They feel important to this world, to this story, and to the characters we already know. And you would think bringing in new characters that have to carry that much weight in the world and with the characters this late in the game, in the fourth movie, that seems like it would be a detriment, but it works. It works because the dialogue, it works because the characters work off of each other well. They know these characters. They spent time developing these characters before they put them on the screen, and when you do that, you actually put the work into the characters, you can make it mean something. Putting weight in the characters, putting meaning into the characters, makes a conversation or a fight scene powerful. And that dialogue between characters is fantastic. It's not just funny, because there is some really good lines. Donnie Yen gets some good stuff to do. Donnie Yen is very funny in this movie, so is John Wick at times. It's very, very good. But also just that dialogue that is meant to push the story forward. Meant to drill home that these characters mean something to each other, have a past. It's all done really well. I can't talk about dialogue without talking about, like, I don't know, Scott Adkins. Again, this brand new character who's really, like, he gets introduced in this movie, like, pretty late into it, like an hour, 15 minutes, and he commands the screen. His character, his acting, his everything is on point. And I'm so happy to say that. I'm so happy to see it. And I need more. I need more big budget Hollywood Scott Adkins. Also, give him time. Don't cut around his action and just give him more stuff, please. But aside from just the action, which I will get to, my favorite thing about this movie is the cinematography, the look, the colors. All of it is gorgeous. The look of John Wick Chapter 4 bounces between being this gorgeous Western to this mysterious neo-noir lighting and everything to this awesome, beautiful, like, Japanese samurai film. Depending on the setting of where they're at, sort of, they manage to do so much with their environments, the lighting of the environments and everything, that it's just gorgeous. One shot towards the beginning of the movie, it's gonna stick in my brain, and it will be my laptop background whenever I can just get a screenshot of it or something. I don't know. It's John Wick in the foreground with a cherry blossom tree being lit by this red lighted building in the background. Looks like this classic samurai image. The way John and the tree are being lit in the red lighting is so cool looking. It's beautiful. It probably also means something with all this red lighting, probably leading to some of the bloodshed we're going to see. And speaking of that bloodshed, it is everything I needed it to be. Now, I will say some of the fight scenes are probably quite spread out. I think there's, they sort of front load it and then they add a few gaps, get a good fight scene in the middle and then a good fight scene at the end. I don't think it's as packed with action as the third film, but I also don't think it needs to be. I think this one really needed to focus more on the characters at times, and with that, it did great. Where to begin with this action? I want to talk about Donnie Yen, because Donnie Yen gets to be Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen, first of all, he is magnetic on screen. He's giving a wonderful performance, of course. He really is. He's a great actor. But when he gets to do action, he's a veteran. We know Donnie Yen. We love Donnie Yen. He commands the screen when he is fighting. And my favorite part is at the beginning. And I'm not trying to spoil anything with any, this is all non-spoiler. I will just say that Donnie Yen gets to do two sort of signature moves, and they were so good to see. I was actively cackling. I was laughing when it happened. Like, the theater kind of made like a general like excitement noise, and then you just had me. Actively head tilted back, hand was on my chest, laughing when he did his two signature moves, because it was just perfect. And as a freaking kung fu nerd, you see them, you know those, they're like references, they're like little Easter eggs for the nerds. You see it and you freaking enjoy it. John Wick Chapter 4's action does everything it needs to. It manages to hit all of the beats. It manages to manages to hit the notes that we're familiar with from the previous three films. It has the double tap headshots. It has the car fights. It's a fight with cars, whether they're fighting other cars or they're fighting people. It's wonderful stunt work. So the car fights, the car hits, all of it. It has your classic knife fights. It has your classic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, judo mixed with the guns. It does everything it needs to do. Horses. We got more horses a little bit. However, it would not be special if it didn't innovate, and it does. The one thing that these movies know exactly how to do is they know how to continue the thing we've been enjoying while also innovating it, while changing it, while adding in those little sparks of life, while adding in those perfect little touches, what could just be an excellent fight scene. Well, how do we make this car fight and everything better? We put it in the middle of oncoming traffic in a busy-ass street. Amazing. How do we make this shootout very similar to something like we saw in the catacombs of John Wick 2, I guess it was just called. Something similar to like the catacomb fight. How do we make that better, more interesting? You add different weapons, you change up the weapons, you throw in like an incendiary or whatever shotgun, where, John Wick has the freaking shielded clothing. Well, what if you got hit when you suddenly lit on fire? Now you have a new angle there. You have you change it up with your camera angles. One thing I adored in this was there's this long extended one take scene, but it's all overhead like a top-down shooter video game. We're talking freaking Robotron. Yeah, I know there's other games people may think of that are more current that do that sort of thing, but no, I'm going back to the PlayStation 1. I'm going back to Robotron. And it takes your breath away. You're breathless the entire time. You can't breathe. You're just staring at the screen, wondering how long it's going to go, and wondering, like, just watching him go through all these different corridors. And it's incredible. I don't know how many times I've said incredible in this video. I don't count, but I feel like it's been a lot. It's incredible. And one thing I love about how the action sort of extends the world itself is it's like a video game. In video games, you have enemies that are, your standard, easy, run-of-the-mill bad guy you kill in a few hits. And then you get to, like, the next level, and, these enemies are harder. So it takes you longer to beat them. But you level up a bit. You understand how to beat them. They have a certain pattern to them. So you level up and you understand the enemy more. Now that enemy is easier. So enemies we saw in John Wick Chapter 3 that were an issue to deal with are back in this one, and they're still kind of hard, but he knows how to beat them more. He's better. And that's so interesting to me. And maybe I'm just the one nerd who feels that. But these characters that once were like a nuisance are now not so bad. They're still rough, but he's got a handle on it. And of course, my favorite thing in the John Wick universe, John Wick can't strike for shit. John Wick can't strike. John Wick's a bad striker. Yep, I've been saying that since the last movie. Go to my last review of the last John Wick movie. I said it. He can shoot. He's got knives. He can grapple. He's got the jiu-jitsu and the judo with the best of them. He can shoot you in the head easily. Stab you in the throat, in the eyeball. But if you just got a nice pair of hands and the feet to go with them, honestly, you got a chance. And this movie brings in the likes of Donnie Yen, Marco Zaror, and Scott Adkins. And as I said, John Wick can't strike for shit. And that's perfect, because you want to see these guys who are lesser known on this grand stage, not just like Donnie Yen, but your Marco Zarors, who, is more popular to us indie martial arts fans and people overseas. Scott Adkins, of course, big B-movie action star, is actually huge overseas, but not in America. And just, it's like Keanu Reeves putting them over. It's like wrestling. I love comparing cinema to wrestling. He's putting them over for the fans, because it's not a spoiler to say they beat the shit out of him. Like, Marco Zaror, he looks real good in this movie. And of course Scott Adkins does. We all know that. Everybody in this movie gets their time to shine. Every martial arts star, every actor, the cinematographer, the writer, the director, every single person involved with this movie gets a time to shine. I gave John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum 5 stars, and I couldn't help it. I couldn't help myself. I loved it that much. I still love it that much. I don't know if I love John Wick Chapter 4 as much, but I can't deny that it made me happy. I can't deny that it made me giddy the whole time. I can't deny I did not enjoy the story, the characters, of course, that sweet, beautiful action. Oh my God, it's glorious. I can't help but say again that John Wick Chapter 4 probably deserves, in my brain and in my heart, unbiasedly, I promise you, I tried to go into this as non-emotional as possible. John Wick Chapter 4 is, once again, 5, I don't even know, hit by a car dual flips out of 5. I will watch this movie again and again and again and again. It brings me so much joy. 5 out of 5 for another John Wick movie, and I don't care to sound biased. I promise I'm not being biased. It's just that good. It's not fair. Movies shouldn't be... Action movies should not be this perfect. It's beautiful to look at. The dialogue is good. The action is the best you're going to find in the world right now, honestly. Hollywood, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, India. I don't care. The John Wick films, especially the last two in my heart, are the best action movies in the world right now. And John Wick 4 continues that. These movies are made by everyone involved with the most heart and passion and concentration. It's just perfection. But tell me what you thought of John Wick Chapter 4 in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why'd you hate it? Are you a psychopath? Why? Do you want to talk about it? Let's talk about our feelings. Why did you hate John Wick Chapter 4? I'm doing a therapy session for those who hated this movie in the comment section down below. If you comment that you hated it, I'm going to sit down on the couch and I'm going to ask why. So tell me those things in the comment section down below. Do you like my shirt? Do you like my glasses? I got new glasses and they're pretty nice. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Facebook, where there's the Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page. Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak. Tristan_Glover on the Twitter. And Martial Arts Film Freak on TikTok. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.